Hi everyone, let's read about the British in regards to their presence in Southeast Asia. We are going to be reading from our favorite outdated source, a descriptive dictionary of the Indian islands and adjacent countries by John Crawford, which was published in 1856. Hi everyone, my name is Laluka and welcome to my channel, Laluka Ancestors. If you're interested in learning more about the Austronesian peoples of maritime Southeast Asia, think Indonesians, Filipinos, and Malaysians, please consider subscribing. So the entry I'm going to be reading is about the British and their presence in Southeast Asia and history of it. So let's go. Keep in mind that the author of the book, John Crawford, was British. He was actually Scottish. But anyways, let's go. We ourselves and our country are called by the natives of the Malayan Islands Ingris or Inglis, a corruption, the origin of which is obvious. The word is an adjective and for the first requires to be preceded by a word signifying men or people, and for the second by one signifying land or country. The English first appeared in the archipelago in 1602, the last year of the reign of Elizabeth, 6 years after the Dutch and 107 after the Portuguese. The first place visited by us was Achin, so he's referring to Aceh, under Sir James Lancaster, the same commander having, in 1603, visited Bantam. The great superiority of the Dutch of the 17th century in commercial and nautical enterprise, and in fact the insubstantial power over the Portuguese, Spaniards, French and English, is shown by results in India. They expelled the Portuguese and Spaniards out of almost all their possessions in the Malay archipelago, drove ourselves out of the Spice Islands in 1620, so he's referring to the British, and from Bantam and Jaratra in Java in 1683. I'm thinking when he refers to Bantam, is he referring to Batam? I have since found out that he's referring to Banten on the western part of Java. So instead of pronouncing it Bantam, it's probably pronounced Bantam. And Jaratra, is that Jakarta? Please let me know in the comments if you know what he's referring to. Expelled by their influence from Bantam, we established ourselves in the sterile land of Bencoolen in Sumatra in 1685. So Bencoolen is now Bengkulu. And you can still see Fort Marlborough, which was built by the British there. Our sole and humble object being to secure a share in the pepper trade. Bencoolen, with some neighbouring establishments, continued for 100 years, or up to the foundation of Penang in 1785, to be our sole territorial possessions in the Malay archipelago, for our other attempts at such acquisitions were ephemeral. Ephemeral means lasting for a very short amount of time. You're welcome. Well, here's an interesting fact that you might not know, but the Indonesians were colonized by the Dutch, but for a few years, the French and then the English took over. This happened because the French invaded the Netherlands. Actually, I would say take over. It happened during the Napoleonic Wars. It sounds like a hot mess to me, but if you want to learn more about it, go somewhere else because I know nothing. So the French ended up controlling, and then in 1811 the British took over, but then they handed it back to the Netherlands in 1815. In 1819 we founded Singapore, and in 1824 we received by convention Malacca and its territory from the Dutch, giving them Bencoolen and our other possessions in Sumatra in return. He writes that the British founded Singapore in 1819, but there would have been other people living there before then. At present, our whole territorial possessions embrace 4 small settlements only, namely Penang, Singapore, Malacca, and Labuan, containing between them 1,300 geographical or 1,496 square statute miles, with a population of about 225,000 souls. That is about 166 to the square statute mile. But the great mass of this population is concentrated in 3 commercial towns, the rest of the territory being either thinly populated or uninhabited jungle. Our possessions are indeed only valuable as commercial emporia, and in this sense are eminently so, as may be seen by the value of the imports and exports. And then he writes how much they received in cash sum between 1854 to 1855. So that was brief information about the British in the Southeast Asian area. I still need to look more into it, but that was a really basic but pretty good outline of the British presence in the area. At some time, some European powers owned a certain island and then exchanged hands. Like there's one story of Flores and another island that used to be part of the Portuguese domain, but then the Portuguese governor in Timor or something like that sold it to the Dutch, and the Portuguese over in Portugal, the authorities over there weren't too happy about that. So that was very interesting, and even though the topic of colonialism is very loaded today, it's very controversial and more seen in a negative light. I see it as just part of history and something that's already happened, and yeah, some really bad things have happened, but you know, we wouldn't be where we are today if these things didn't happen. And I'm not like, you know, agreeing with the things that happened in the past, but they happened and we are where we are today, and we can't change the past, but yeah, we can change the future. When the British took over the Dutch East Indies for that small time period, there were plans to actually make Makassar on the island of Sulawesi a major trading port. Even though today and back in the day it was a major trading port, but it could have been even more, like it could have been like a new Singapore. But yeah, we will never know. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Sometimes it didn't seem natural for me to read it. Like it seems like it's more to be read instead of read out. And yeah, I'll be talking about more things about the Austronesian peoples of maritime Southeast Asia. Initially, I wanted to talk about the whole of Austronesian peoples, but maybe that's too broad of a subject, and I kind of want to learn more and focus more on Southeast Asia. At this point of time, I refer to the area as maritime Southeast Asia. Some people will say the Malay world or Nusantara, but I feel like maritime Southeast Asia is more neutral in a way, and I say the Austronesian speaking peoples of maritime Southeast Asia or island Southeast Asia. I hope you understand. I know it's very long, but I hope you kind of understand what region and what topic I'm talking about. Okay, bye.